No. LBG, I think you are taking this too far. Look,
I say,
LBG,
listen to me.
Hold on.
I say in hope, the bar provided Godfred Dame the platform to attack John Mahama.
What did he say to attack John Mahama?
So you don't give
John Mahama made a comment and he responded. Is that not so?
He responded using the bar platform.
But I mean, it's a discussion. So
I am telling you that what the bar is interested in, it's not this kind of conversation. The one that enriches quality justice delivery is the partisan posturing. I'm so even you are shocked. In the past, do you know what the bar used to do? The bar itself sometimes suggests name. They will sit down and say, oh, this lawyer or so and so judge has done so well. These are the quality of his judgment. So, we, as a bar, we are suggesting A, B, C, D name for possible consideration. You are not imposing the person, but you are simply saying A, B, C, D, we think. Justice Dennis, look at the number of times he's been. Justice Damepe, look at the number of times. 14 years at the Court of Appeal. Sir Dennis, how many years? Justice Abudabi, Justice Dogu and Co. How many years as High Court Justice? Judge Wilson and Co. These are judges who have dedicated their time only service to the Republic of Ghana. Nothing more, nothing else. So, like you rightly pointed out, if this thing cannot engage the attention of the bar, but what the bar considers prime is how to respond to H.E. John Dramani Mahama, then for me, I see it not to be one born out of good faith, but partisan posturing. And that is why we have made the point so clear that the bar can bury their head in the sand. But the reality is what we've just discussed.
Now, my friends, I come from a background where public service is considered a duty, and where privilege and good fortune demand even greater commitment to the common good. Generations of my forebears and relations established this rich tradition of public service, to which I am greatly indebted, as it is a source of constant inspiration. Indeed, Kofi Abrefa-Busia, Prime Minister of the Progress Party government of the Second Republic, and one of the great Ghanaians, said, and I quote, "We regard politics as an avenue of service to our fellow men. We hold that politics is exercised to make life nobler and happier," unquote. I'm fully aware of the responsibility the job of President of the Republic brings. As I'm fortunate enough to carry a sense of the history and struggles that made that job possible, as well as being apprised of the challenges and opportunities of the future. Crucial to the progressive and prosperous future I seek to help create for the Ghanaian people is how to sustain their confidence in the democratic journey on which we have embarked. We celebrated this year 30 years of multi-party democracy under the Constitution of the Fourth Republic, which has provided the framework for the longest period of uninterrupted, stable, constitutional governance in our otherwise turbulent history. Next year, we will be going to the polls for the 9th time in the Fourth Republic to elect a new president and new members of parliament. We will, in the results of those polls, witness either the changing of power from one political party to another, as we have done on 3 separate occasions in the Fourth Republic, or the breaking of the 8, something that has never happened before in the Fourth Republic. I'm sure I do not need to tell you what my present preference is. It is public knowledge. What is important, however, is that the Ghanaian people have demonstrated that they are fully conversant with the process of peaceful democratic transitions and need no lessons in the exercise of their democratic rights. Maintaining high standards and integrity in public life is key to extending our association with multi-party democracy. As one writer put it, and I quote, "Standards in public life help to maintain the health of the democratic system and uphold public confidence in it. They help prevent politicians and officials from being swayed by outside interests in their decision-making and help to maintain a political culture that fosters open and constructive debate. They thereby contribute to a political system that is fair, inclusive, stable, and effective," unquote. The Ghanaian people are expectant that Parliament, the legislative arm of government, will continue to grow into its proper role as an effective machinery for accountability and oversight of the executive, and not be its junior partner. Parliament must stand out as an institution that represents all the values that we hold dear and in which our citizens can take pride. Our judiciary must inspire confidence in the citizenry so we can all see the courts as the ultimate arbiters when disputes arise. A Ghanaian judge must be a reassuring presence and the epitome of fairness. Ensuring high standards and integrity in public life has its own impact on the image of our nation and our ability to attract the substantial amounts of investment, foreign and domestic, needed to help grow our economy. We will attract the requisite investments if we continue to hold ourselves as a haven of peace, security, and stability. And if we continue to show that we are a country where the separation of powers is real and the principles of democratic accountability and respect for the rule of law, individual liberties and human rights are firmly entrenched in our body politic. The legal profession has a catalytic role to play in guaranteeing the sustenance of these values and thereby in helping us uphold the maintenance of integrity in the ordering of our state. The political color of judges is a legitimate topic of public discourse. Indeed, justices at the district and state levels within the federal structure of the American government are elected officials, and even though judges at the federal level, including those of the Federal Court of Appeals and the United States Supreme Court, are appointed by the President with the consent of the Senate, their political coloring is generally well known and accepted. Historically, this has not been the case in Ghana, largely because of the critical controlling role of the Judicial Council, a non-partisan body chaired by the Chief Justice, in the process of judicial appointments. It has meant that judicial appointments are conducted essentially on the basis of professional merit and suitability. Appointments to the lower courts, the High Court, and the Court of Appeal are done by the President exclusively on the advice of the Judicial Council. In the case of appointments to the Supreme Court, because of its unique position in our judicial structure, there are the additional requirements of the consultation of the Council of State and the approval of Parliament. In the overwhelming number of cases of justices designate to the Supreme Court, that approval has been given on a bipartisan basis. You can count on the fingers of a hand the number of justices designate whose approval met less than unanimous consent. I've gone into this matter in some detail because of a new concept that has been recently introduced into our public discourse by no less a public figure than the fourth President of the Fourth Republic, the perennial NDC presidential candidate, John Dramani Mahama, who has told the world that I have packed the courts with so-called MPP judges, and that one of the key purposes of a putative NDC victory in 2024 will be to enable him balance the courts with so-called NDC judges. Not only are these concepts of, quote, MPP and, quote, NDC judges new in our public discourse, they are also extremely dangerous and represent the most brazen attack on the independence of the judiciary by an allegedly responsible politician of the Fourth Republic. They provide another reason, if more were needed, why right-thinking citizens should ensure the defeat in 2024 of the man whom the first special prosecutor identified as government official number one in the still unresolved Airbus bribery scandal.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and thank you for joining me on this Facebook Live session. I come before you as the flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress to advocate for a cause, an upcoming exercise that goes to the heart of our democracy. The limited voter registration exercise will give the opportunity to those who have become eligible to vote to place their names on the voters register. It will also allow for those replacing lost voters ID cards an opportunity to transfer your vote from where you currently have it to a new polling station. In a nutshell, I'm here to encourage you, wherever you are in Ghana or beyond, that if you do not have a voter ID card, especially if you've just turned 18, please take advantage of this exercise, which starts on September the 12th, 2023. Start making the necessary arrangements to register and get your voter's ID card. My brothers and sisters, our young people, fellow countrymen and women, it is no secret that Ghana, our beloved country, is currently grappling with a severe economic crisis. More than ever before, the lives of our people today are defined by a daily struggle to eke out a living. We're seeing our daily cost of living skyrocket, and job opportunities are becoming more difficult by the day. Our people, the youth, the elderly, drivers, market women, civil servants, security personnel, teachers, journalists, nurses, and doctors are all experiencing a sense of hopelessness on a scale never witnessed in recent memory. This dire situation calls for urgent action, and the most powerful tool at our disposal is our right to vote. President Akufo-Addo and his administration have failed to address the pressing economic challenges they have exerted on the people of our country, misapplying our precious, scarce resources and overspending on their creature comforts and largesse instead of building the critical infrastructure this country needs for job creation and development. Their promises during their campaigns have not been fulfilled, leaving the ordinary Ghanaian burdened with the consequences of their incompetence, cluelessness, and shameless arrogance. Today, some Ghanaians glorify and make excuses for corruption because the MPP has allowed it to permeate every facet of our society. This must never be accepted as the norm. It hinders progress on many fronts, denying our youth of opportunities that should have come their way if state resources were meaningfully applied. Ladies and gentlemen, we cannot afford to let this dire state of affairs continue. Registering and acquiring a voter ID card to vote in the December 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections is not just a basic civic duty, it is an obligation. As a people, our starting point to effect real change in our country is to register and vote.
wonim asumra ekura edi asumra achi wonim kura edi kasapin achi nti sankofo so obia so twero ne di onfa nipa me nsanka no ho no onfro ka mara gosho na wode ka ska ba de Japan so ha no mesra no on hwe sabi mare ya otime wo Jesus ma yen wamma confusion bi amma manu amra ba fa oba so mesra no so tiamia onse sa asem na waka no wamma emmen wo bia ntumi nkotwero didin e sha wan hwe yi a no obi wo sika wo ba bia wo akiri nti so no akofa bus e de so ankofo mo mbetu abetwero mu din kwa na che se wo so mtu abama no e bia no sa nipa no soso kwa ne empedo nso na wo sika ye koto abano ma no wie no akototo pa so a na ye ho anu aye ye kota se no aye ka no a eno ana ne ye da so aye ka masre afa mi a me papa masre no nanado mpane chew insada me sayem ontwe no mfiri ni gefo asem masre no ontwe no mfiri ho if so obia free say Nigeria for the soldier for ba yare baba Ghana country bia o support to bia on the soldier for no baba Ghana ha and o ma free ha akọ je ho enanu ya kura mpa omunya mfa ma ye hweje na bo ya tinsuom so yem ya je ne ye hweje ne bo ti abasre so omu na soldier for no ntena se na nhihye bia wo so omu ne ye nya ya sundue no ye ntena ya sundue mu saa sabe den kura ya si tire ni tire nkan ye so obi mefa nkodi emu den kura Ghana ya tie mo sundue o pre wo nyame ba hye no wan munyam ye wo obi o Ghana ha adura mu na nsuo nko ano onom na odeda enso ade atime kye no o me enko tutuo bia na hayen israwo ya wo mra dwumadi o nyame somaye si ye medi no Ghana ha no emra no menko mu bi kura mra no wo mani bebre ho me na tutuo bia me na ho me bibia ama me metwa dwumadi a wo se medima go so dima hafo ansa na mekọ amakọ timi gina sha kwanya we so adi asre
no Supreme Court yes na bato abeto e benye de bentwam ya mubi no kure ni mben kasa de same o Supreme Court kasa gina ye no kame na collect kame ko right na nemti en kama ko no wan hwe no ne bedi sa asem ya wo ntimi nkoka bi na mo mesra and the Attorney General of Ghana emra man kwame say ade bi ekoso na ohwe Ghana fo anije nim a otimi ye de otwaso na no ase no be se papa no betwa na konyanum so nya MPB o no bankoto foforo batoma na na se bandu ama no bantu ama anya overwhelming majority no nya 57.56 oya bibi ketwa wa batum as a matter of urgency I'm appealing to the President of the Attorney General President of the Republic if he has any role to play that trial should be aborted. The Attorney General should, as a matter of urgency, file a nolle prosequi to end that particular decision. Sir, make a way because but was what? Ma, ye did the Ghana for attempt. Ye did the Asenov for attempt. No credit.
Honorable Ministers of State, members of Parliament, the President of the Ghana Bar Association, Sayawa Champon Boafo, the President of the Central Regional Bar, Deputy Attorney General Afretua Yeboah, members of the Bar Council, Dogwahine, Osaber. It reinforces my conviction and bouquet would have arrived to deliver a set of candidates, where I was part of the last batch of both the ordinary and advanced level candidates in 1994 and 1996 respectively. And in talking about Cape Coast's contribution to the law, it is fitting to recall that the flame of Adisado burns bright. I understand the Whiskey Girls people fondly say quite rightly that they have produced the first three lady Chief Justices of Ghana. And congratulations, all three, that's good. But the record also shows that before Chief Justice George Wood, the three of the immediate last four Chief Justices, and I talk about Philip Edward Archer, Edward Kwame Redu, and George Kingsley Archer, were all Adisado products. So indeed, the trail was blazed quite some time ago. And it's understandable why the new High Court will be located opposite Adisado. That is where the law is. Colleagues, I was struck by the importance of the choice of theme by the bar for this year's conference, ensuring high standards and integrity in life, in public life, the role of the legal profession. It cannot be overstated that the legal profession indeed has a huge role to play in the setting of high standards and integrity in public life. The law, which members of this profession practice, consists of a set system of rules by which a particular country or community regulates the actions of its members.
Now, dear friends, I come from a background where public service is considered a duty, and where privilege and good fortune demand even greater commitment to the common good. Generations of my forebears and relations established this rich tradition of public service, to which I am greatly indebted, as it is.
Yesterday, you made it clear to the committee that Dr. George Akufu-Dampare, the Inspector General of Police, is not managing the police well. Have you ever had an opportunity to express this, either directly to him or at the Police Management Board meeting?
Honorable Member and Honorable Chair, several opportunities. And what I said yesterday, if you give me the chance today, I will say so again. He is not managing the police service well. And for me, for the 31 years that I've been in the service, I can tell you he's the worst IGP we've ever had in this country.
Please hold on. Yesterday, we realized that if we are not careful, this will be a trial of the entire police service, which will have national security implications. And therefore, every line of questioning which will want to bring about the issue of the IGP and his competence and the rest of the matters will give you the opportunity in camera, so we listen to you. So members, let's have it at the back of our minds. You see, if we are not careful, you understand, then we are trying the IGP in his absence by what he's pronouncing.
I think that he didn't answer my question. He veered into an area that I never questioned on. The question was, the IGP is your immediate boss. And the complaint procedure there is that even if it's your immediate boss that is doing things not right, you go and tell him. Have you ever had the opportunity to tell the IGP, suggesting to him things that you think were not right in the administration, either at a police management board meeting or directly to him? Have you ever done that?
Chair, I think this is a question which has already been asked, and I said yes. So I don't know why my
Thank you very much for the emphasis. To conclude, when your immediate boss refuses or fails to address your grievance, I'm sure there's a next step to take. What is that next step?
Mr. Chair, per the advice that you gave, I will refuse to answer this question. Thank you.
Chair, I think
if care is not taken, this is a public hearing, but we need to exercise our discretion in the interest of the public, so that very simple questions which can be answered must be answered. But right now, it looks like the situation has been created whereby the witness wants us to, have much of his testimony done in camera. That would also not serve the public interest. So, for instance, the question that was just posed, that's a very simple question. The public wants to know. The audio is out there. We must establish the justification for most of the things that were said on that audio through the witness, to satisfy the test of the public, to know what really went on. But from every indication, I won't answer this, I will do it in camera. This is a public hearing. So we must balance, strike a balance.
Very good balance we are trying to strike, because you see, we should be mindful of one major thing here, that anything that will become a serious matter in the public domain via this engagement and will impinge on national security matters will not be proper. You see, and also, when he says that I won't answer, that is his right, you know that, Counsel. It's not because of what I said, because we can't force him to answer questions. But you take note of his silence or his refusal to answer a question and comment on it. But what is very important is that I don't want anybody to have an impression that, we are trying to aid the witness so that vital information that the public wants to consume, they will not have it. That is not what we are doing here. Because there's a lot of information that is in Jubilee House that the public is not having. A lot of information. There's also a lot of information with the bureaus that the public does not know. So it's not every information that is good for public consumption, measured against national security. But if a man is seated here and he says he won't answer the question, the committee will take notice of it. Because we as a members of the committee cannot compel him to answer questions. But you make note of that, his demeanor and the rest of it. We are all observing him.
Yes, Chairman, I agree. But in the case of national security related matters, and when they can be divulged, there is a procedure for, first of all, categorization and classification. So, for instance, a document can be marked as restricted, confidential, etc. There's a procedure. But in this case, there is a witness before the committee. And the basis for this whole exercise is a leaked audio, which is already out there. Certain statements have been made very clearly on the audio. And so, when questions are posed and they are directly related to what is said in that audio, for instance, you want justification. The entire police service is not happy with the IGP. The public needs to know. The police service is a creature of the Constitution and statute. The people have an interest in how well the police administration, the police service is managed. So, if you come and sit here and make such an emphatic statement, we should not leave the public in doubt. They should know. They deserve to know. I don't think there is any national security dimension to management. The service is not well managed. It's out there. What is the justification? The public should not be denied access to the justification. If we do that, it would constitute a disservice to the public. They should know. The national security, if you start making certain revelations here, and the committee thinks that those revelations are sensitive, we'll stop you right there and say, this one, let's have it in camera. But to say all the justifications should be done, we'll be doing the public a disservice. So we have to draw the line. You see, the audio is out there. It is even in the interest of the witness to do the justification right here to the hearing of the public. We don't deserve to have an incompetent IGP.
Vice, you are not a witness. I crave your indulgence. Don't say that we don't deserve.
No, that is the point.
No,
So
you shouldn't say that. You
justification.
shouldn't say that. Vice, I crave your indulgence. You see, I'm walking a very thin line, and let me explain. Probably, if I'm wayward.
I'm not saying the IGP is incompetent.
No.
But per his assertion.
But listen. If the IGP is not competent enough, you understand, and the IGP is not here, how can we give a good hearing and come to a conclusion on the mere say-so of a man? It's not right. If we want to bring the IGP on trial,
Placed a ban on illegal mining, the phenomenon we call galamsey, which was destroying our water bodies, vegetation, and our forests. Some 20,000 young people have been engaged to plant more than 30 million trees in 2 years to create jobs and restore degraded land. These policy initiatives are already using positive results to the attainment of the SDG goals, particularly the goal of reducing our carbon emissions.
What is the difference?
If you reach a certain stage in life and there is nobody who can look you in the eye and tell you the truth, you are doomed. And that is where our country has gotten to. We need to rescue this country, wallahi. And I feel very terrible as a Ghanaian at this time. This country is in serious trouble, ladies and gentlemen. We are in serious trouble. We need to rescue this country, ladies and gentlemen. The presidency has been so depraved, so muddied, so dirty, that I tell you in all sincerity as a Ghanaian, that I feel terribly sad today as a Ghanaian. We need to rescue this country. Wallahi, inshallah.
please don't cry.
We shall rescue our country.
Government is broke, But people are spending billions to go inside the government that is broke. Have you ever seen a minister who resigned because government is broke before? Government has no money. Have you ever seen a governor who said, ladies and gentlemen, when I was elected, I thought the government had money. Now I discover government has no money, I resign. Have you ever seen it? Government has no money, but they are bringing money out at election time. Where is that money coming from? So they are lying. What is happening is that there are two types of wicked people in government. Type 1, they eat current money. Any money they find in government, they will eat it. They are wicked about that one. There is type 2. Type 2, they eat current money and future money. They will say, my term will end next year. When I leave, how will I eat money? Let me borrow money now and borrow money of the future and eat it now.
Right, hello, good morning and welcome to the show. This is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. It's a Tuesday, the 12th day of September 2023. By His grace, we're live and we're here with yet another edition of the show. Our gratitude go to the Most High God for the rare privilege of being alive and, of course, the opportunity of having another conversation around the top stories making around here in our dear Republic. I'll let you into our panel for the morning's conversation shortly. But let's take a look at the front pages of our newspapers, Daily Graphic. Public office accountability, onslaught on ill-gotten wealth, new bill to tackle corruption, President. EC begins limited voter registration today despite court injunction. GTech freezes unaccredited academic programs. Political coloration of judiciary dangerous. President. IGP faces accusers in camera today. Ghanaian Times. At the GBA conference, fight against corruption on course, President assures nearly 200,000 tons of cocoa smuggled out of Ghana. Climate action. Ofriata outlines roadmap for Africa's sustainable development. EP orders arrest of Star Atsam's enterprise owner over explosion. IGP before parliamentary committee probe into leaked tape today. Daily Guide. Airbus government official 1, Nana Jabs Mahama. IGP storms parliament over leaked tape. Voters registration begins today. Shamal query not licensed. NLA launches afternoon draw. Signs Ghana Post Pact. The New Crusading Guide. Mahama's concept of NDC judges dangerous should lead to his defeat in 2024 Akufo-Addo. Occupy Ghana chases presidency over conduct of public officers bill. Government prioritizing roads, electricity under Agenda 111 project upon Nkrumah. EC and NPP accused of disenfranchising Ghanaians in limited voter exercise. Acting president of 7th-day Pentecostal Assemblies exposed over attempts to delay elections as faction calls for judicial intervention. Gerald Nyanyofio re-elected as NPP Lada de Kotopon parliamentary candidate. The Insight. Afaglo accuses EC,